Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back. Alex StarCraft here, bringing you guys my first commentary in quite a while. It is, of course, another StarCraft 2 game between EG's Huk, the red Protoss, in the 6 o'clock position, and Complexity's Heart, the blue Terran, in the 12 o'clock position, and I'm so excited to be bringing you guys this game. This is going to be from the MLG 2012 Winter Championship Pool play. These are all the players that have indeed made it out of the open bracket, along with others who were seeded from the Winter Arena. You will note the map really quick. It is MLG Metalopolis. You'll note the neutral supply depot at the bottom of each player's ramp, as well as the lack of high yield, as high yields have now been removed from most major tournaments. But as I said, I am so excited to be bringing you guys this match. This is my first commentary in quite a while, and some of you guys who did subscribe to me previously, when I was doing almost one video a day, or at least averaging it, might have been wondering, holy crap, where did Alec go? And I see I have a lot of new subscribers. Thanks to that Stefano video, it's got me a lot of views. In addition to subscribers, I'm up about 10 subscribers from the last time I did a cast, so hopefully you guys all see this, you guys all enjoy my new stuff. And sorry it does not have a Zerg in it. I'm trying to diversify my casting ability, aka not only being able to cast a Zerg. Aka I've been playing Terran and Protoss more recently at, albeit not a high level, but I'm trying my best. But as I was saying, I am a full-time college student at the moment, and so I am right in the midst of finals, so I have not really had a whole lot of time to get very much done in terms of casting, nor a lot of my extracurriculars really. So please forgive me for that, everybody. And what do we have these players doing this game? We see Heart throwing down that gas geyser, and that tells us one big thing. He is not going for that gasless one racks expand that you will see Terran players do oh so often versus Protoss. It's safe to assume, I feel, from what I watch and from what I even understand and hear myself, it is fairly safe to assume in about probably 75-ish% of Terran versus Protoss games that they will go for a one gate expand and one racks expand, respectively. Of course, in this game we are not going to see that, so what we'll be seeing very soon is what Heart is going to be doing with this gas. We actually see him throwing down a second one. What that leads me to believe that we might be seeing some kind of 1-1-1. We see a reactor on the barracks, which will of course get him a lot of Marines if he chooses to do that. It'll also allow him to swap that out with the starport or the, what do you call it, the factory. And of course, switching it out with the factory would allow him to get Hellions, which you do see sometimes with the 1-1-1. Or switching it out with the medevac, or with the starport, would allow you to produce medevacs or Vikings, which you don't see nearly as often. You generally see a tech lab on that starport. We do see Heart throwing down a factory, so it does look like we are going to be seeing a 1-1-1 out of Heart. And at the same time, Huk has not totally revealed exactly what kind of tech he wants to go for. As I say that, he does. He throws down the robotics facility, and so he is going to be going for at least what is currently a one-base robo play. However, he did have this probe headed back out here, and we actually are going to see an expansion being thrown down. So Huk throwing down that expansion, which will of course give him an economic lead if he can survive and hold the expansion. If Heart is indeed going for 1-1-1, and we see a starport, so yes, he is going for that 1-1-1 push, then he has the potential to kill Huk's expansion. And even if he can just kill the expansion, he can still be in fairly good shape. If he can do more damage like that, he can be in very good shape. And of course, Huk, having just spent 400 minerals on this, delaying his tech a fair amount, particularly these two extra gateways he's adding on, will have a few less units than his opponent, because that economy probably won't have had maybe not time to kick in yet by the time Heart's push comes. So we'll have to see, will Huk have the control or scouting or foresight to hold off this push? And we do see Cart, yes, they're Heart, not Cart, Cole Heart. He does swap off that starport with the tech lab. So that will allow him to get those Ravens, allow him to get those Banshees, which are oh so useful in the 1-1-1 pushes, because they will block Stalker shots. Of course, that Raven with the point defense drone does block shots from Stalkers, which will not only keep Banshees alive almost indefinitely, because that is what the Protoss has as anti-air, but it will also, of course, prevent a lot of damage being done from ground units. Our Stalkers are a very good unit, but Immortals will be the real damage dealer in this battle. But Huk opting to get another Immortal, so that higher Observer count will, of course, translate to a slightly lower Immortal count, so we will have to see, will that Immortal count translate to anything, and Huk sending this observer around. Does not look like the Hart is seeing it, but he is selecting these Marines, so he may well be seeing that little blur and scan and take that out. For the time being, he's just going. Huk sees a good number of Marines pushing out, so he is warping in as many Zealots as he can, and he knows Zealots are in good shape against Marines, particularly if they do not have stim. And I'm not entirely sure all of what Huk has seen. He's only seen the single barrack, so he doesn't know that any of these buildings are here or that there are add-ons on any of them. But he can predict safely that his opponent does not have stim pack, because you really cannot have stim pack this early in the game, because it is such a long, it takes a very, very long time to research. But, of course, Huk getting a lot of Zealots. They don't shoot up, and there are about to be potentially cloaked Banshees on the map. There is a Raven finishing at the moment, which, if Huk is not careful, could of course allow him to snipe that observer. People often forget that Ravens are detectors, but now if Hart chooses to get out those Banshees, Huk might be hard-pressed to help hold that. And did he? Yes, okay, the Banshee cloak did complete, so if he's not getting Banshees, that'd be kind of weird for the time being. And, okay, I lied. Wow, I'm stupid. There's a Banshee in the base of Huk, so it is going to start going to work at these. Where is Huk's observer? I'm not entirely sure, but he immediately moves over these stalkers. And as soon as the observer arrives from his natural expansion, he will be able to take out that Banshee if Hart does not control properly. But we see him almost out of energy. He's down to decloaking now, as a matter of fact. So Huk just being very careful and putting the stalkers so they can get to his natural quickly if they need to, but more probes have gone down. He's up to 6 probe kills, and the stalkers are starting to shoot, but of course Hart with that very nice control, keeping that Banshee alive, only taking a single hit, and at the same time there is a push coming out across the map. Now Huk can see these streaming units reinforcing, or these reinforcing units streaming out of his opponent's base, and he's going to be sending that observer out. Meanwhile, the Banshee's still doing work in this expansion. 11 kills, and that is 100% workers, ladies and gentlemen. That is a lot of work for that one Banshee. So if we take a look at the worker counts really quick, ooh, a little bit of lag, but if we take a look at the worker counts really quickly, we see it is 28 to 28. So Huk does have that natural expansion. We can see that is reflected with his slightly higher income because his saturation is more balanced. But again, this Banshee is still doing work, up to 12 kills now. And that means that the economic advantage Huk had will kind of be negated a little bit, just because of the fact that he does not have as many workers as he would like, because he did lose so many. And even though he has those 2 bases and he can get them faster, it's going to hurt him a bit, of course. Losing workers in any situation hurts you. It just hurts you a little bit less when you're on 2 base. But, you know, tell that to Zerg players going up against Blue Flame Hellions. It is very dangerous losing workers in any situation, no matter what race you are. So Huk is no longer mining gas. He's just working on getting minerals back up, and I'm assuming that is intentional. Yes, we should probably see him putting guys back in gas in just a minute. And look at this push. Oh my goodness, coming out from Hart. That is scary. Raven and Banshee. Raven approaching full energy. And that is a lot of Marines. Holy crap. They do not actually have any upgrades whatsoever, but the siege tanks do have siege mode, and you look at them producing 4 Marines at a time constantly. The Banshee coming, and Huk's observer does get spotted by that Raven and does get killed, but Huk knows the push is coming very, very soon, and Hart is going to siege up outside of his base. Now is Huk going to engage? Huk does engage before the siege tanks are all sieged. The Zealot's getting right on top of the Marines, and with no stim, they cannot micro back. The Immortals destroying the tanks, and oh my god, Huk, except for the air units, has destroyed this push, but now there are Banshees, there is no observer in position, and there are no more stalkers. So the question is, Huk did a lot of damage to that push, but will he be able to kill these Banshees? You see that point defense drone going to work, and look how fast those stalkers are killed, but the stalkers are of course attacking the Banshees, but are they going to be enough? Okay, they do kill 1, but okay, look at that, 4 stalkers trading and only 2 Banshees going down. So Huk definitely has to be careful. He still has some Zealots, still have some Immortals, but the Banshees very smart from Hart, focusing down the Immortals. Those are the heavy hitters. Huk warping in more Stalkers, more Zealots, and is engaging as consistently as he can, trying to keep those Banshees from sniping his low health units, but he's going to run in and snipe that point defense drone, as well as try and get the missile turret, but the Banshees are doing so much work now. Oh my goodness. 1 is at fairly low health, so if Huk could snipe that, that would definitely be a victory for him. Looks like Hart is going to be at least pulling back a little bit to try and regroup before re-engaging. He knows Huk has that reinforcement advantage, and Huk does have a supply advantage. Keeping in mind, though, he is currently up by 19 workers and only up by 10 supplies, so he's actually down by 9, and the Banshees running into the base are going to be able to more than one-shot these probes, and so those are going to go down so quickly. Huk sends the Stalkers back very wisely, keeping the Zealots out there, knowing that there's a good chance there could be another attack up at the front very, very soon. And if there are tanks those will do very well against the Zealots, but fortunately for Huk, there are no tanks. The first one is only just about to be on its way to reinforcing, but he is going to be running in, and Huk sending out his Zealots, and no matter how well Heart stutter steps, he cannot infinitely kite those Marines or infinitely kite with those Marines against the Zealots, because he does not have that stim pack yet, and I'm just waiting to see, is Huk going to be able to take off those Banshees? He's up to 21 workers lost now. Heart, very, very good control. If we look at the units lost, we see he has lost about 2,000 resources less than his opponent. Of course, a lot of those are workers. A lot of those are because of these Banshees. This one Banshee's up to 23 kills, but Huk doing a very good job, and with the economic advantage, might still be in good shape, and his Stalker count has gotten very, very high. Heart doing as much work against those Zealots as he can, but Huk is running in. This tank is unsieged. It was rallying, and the Marines are attacking the Zealots, but the Zealots are going down very, very quickly, and pure Stalker is not very good against pure Marine. You can kite, but of course with that tank and Banshee support, you can be in a bit of trouble. Huk warping in Zealots. He knows, again, that is kind of the meat of his army, but he is now down on supply. He has to try not lose these pylons. That would be bad for his reinforcing as well as his supply. Morphing in one last Zealot, and he is going to get it out in time, but it does get picked off. So he just lost 2 pylons. He is not supply blocked though, but he is in danger of going out under in this first game. He does not want to lose this late in the tournament, in the pool play. This will determine his position in the championship bracket. Pushing forward with these Zealots and Probes, trying to pick off these units. Is he going to be able to kill the Banshees? He does focus down one of them. The Zealots doing a lot of work. Another Banshee goes down. Is the third going to go down? Yes, it does, but there's still so many Marines, so many Zealots. Huk down 35 to 52 supply. 39 to 52 with that other warp incoming, but you see, pulled a lot of probes. He's trying to engage, again, keep the army from destroying his nexus, destroying any of his infrastructure, but the Banshee's still doing so much work. Just warding off those units. This is a lot of Marines, and I think Huk might not be able to come back from this. You can kite infinitely with the Stalkers, but when there are this many Marines, it is going to be almost impossible. He's waiting for those warp gates to cool down. He does have another warp, and he can do in just a second, but he's focusing too hard on the micro of these Stalkers. One gateway does get picked down, which does unfortunately reduce the number of Zealots that Huk can warp in, and reinforcements streaming across the map from Heart. Huk is losing Stalkers. He's losing Zealots. He's pulling the probes off the line. He is going to be able to get that siege tank as it is away from the Marines. However, Huk does not really have anything left. He's down by less than half the supply, and there's a GG, and holy crap. But one thing I want to note about those 1-1-1 pushes, you see, if Huk had held out for another, let's say, 45 seconds to a minute, his opponent would have had nothing left to mine. So Huk could have been in good shape in that case, but regardless, we're going to go ahead and jump right into game 2, and thank you guys all for watching. I hope you enjoyed this, and I hope you enjoyed the next game.